Real heavy!
What's up, everyone? It's James and
Rhett. We're back.
We're back again, and it's January, and we are covering our favorite death metal albums and releases from January of 2026. And wow, it was as cold as fuck as it was outside. It was a heater as
That
far
was
as
the
releases go.
only thing keeping me warm was throwing in all the good
Yeah.
tunes of the last month, and who needs blankets anymore? You got sick riffs.
Yeah, you just cover yourself in the riffs.
in the riff blankets.
Yeah. Curl up with a riff blanket, everyone. It's January, and
Like, you know how some people curl up with a good book when they're in front of the fire?
yeah,
Like, I think we need to start a new trend saying, like, gotta curl up with a good riff. Being
curl up with
like
a
right
good
in
riff.
front of the
Yeah,
fire and just like, find your
yeah,
nastiest riff you can think of and just, smile ear to ear. Feel so happy and jolly.
yeah, yeah. Okay, so we're gonna rip through our top releases. We're gonna go back and forth, take turns, and can I start?
Yep. You lead the way, sir.
Okay. Okay, so the first release that I want to shout out this month is Gorrch with Stillamentum. This is a two-person dissonant blackened death metal project from Italy. I think these guys are brothers, if I'm not mistaken. But if you guys like bands like Portal, Ad Nauseum, Deathspell, Omega, Fantifaxath, kind of like that atonal, dissonant type of black metal, death metal, this is it. This is what opening a portal to hell sounds like.
Mm.
It's one of the most savage disso death releases I think I've heard thus far. Um, I personally am a sucker for good and interesting dissonant death metal. So this album just put a big happy stank face on my face. And yeah, the whole time you're just listening to lightning fast tremolo picking, crazy tempo changes, crazy chaotic technical riffing, accompanied by eerie and haunting chants. The vocals are more like chants. There's some crazy vocal patterns and screams going on, and the drumming is just a crazy combo of like rapid fire blast beats and savage barrage of double kicks. I think that this album will likely be a top contender for me at the end of the year.
No doubt. No doubt.
Yeah, so check out Gorrch. Oh my Gorrch! Check out
Gorge.
Gorrch.
Do it.
Gorrch.
Gorge. Okay. My first album that I was put in the list here is Inborn Tendency with Let There Be.
Sin.
These guys are like a Finnish melodic death metal, groove metal band. So like, obviously when you hear that, you automatically think of like Orbiculture, In Flames. Like if you like those guys, and this will be right up your alley. It's got like the perfect blend of like groovy riffs. But then you have the melodic choruses, and then but you still have like that death metal edge with the vocals and the guitars, and it kind of has a good balance of both. I don't know what it is about those guys over in like the Nordic countries, but for some reason, like they just have a certain sound to it. And I don't think they're doing anything special, because you could have an American band doing the same thing, but like you just have to record and do your stuff over there because it's just something in the water. It sounds so good. The production is top notch. Everything is still crisp and clear, but like, yeah, there's still a little bit of an edge, like
Mhm.
production wise too. Like it's a little bit raspy, which is kind of nice to have. It's not all crisp and clean because then it
Mhm.
doesn't feel like it's down and dirty, which I think death metal is supposed to be. And like super easy to get through, 31 minutes. It's pure fun, pure intensity. It's basically all killer, no filler. So if you're looking for something along those lines, then check out Inborn Tendency.
Sick. So next up for me is another album that I think is going to be on a lot of year-end lists. And if this is any indication of how 2026 is going to end up, by God, I think we're going to have a tough time at the end of the year.
Mhm.
But this album is by a band called Eximperitus, and the album name is called Meritoriousness of Equanimity. And it's a brutal and technical death metal band from Belarus. Think like Relics of Humanity, but like in terms of the brutal death, technical brutal death metal sound, but more like psychedelic groove, atmospheric doom kind of underpinnings to it. Um, so the actual name of this band is insanely long. So if you type in Eximperitus on Google, it'll give you the full name, which is like, who the fuck is going to be able to pronounce that? And then the length of the song names are also incredibly long. Like, why you got to make me read, bro?
I just want to listen to
Like,
tunes.
yeah, good thing the music kicks ass because I can't read worth shit. Um, so again, these guys play a super technical, hook-filled groove and doom-laden form of brutal death metal that is both mystical and magical. And what do I mean by that? You just have to listen to it and then you'll understand right away what I mean. Think like brutal death mixed with like technical death metal mixed with blood incantation. Um, super fast guitar work, crazy atmospheric doom parts in between, and again, I think this is an album of the year contender for many folks. I'll be highly surprised if it's not on year-end lists, this one. So peep it, check it out.
I bet you, like, foreshadowing here, I bet you there's probably 5 or 6 albums that could easily be year-end contenders through everything that we listened to this year. Like, it was nuts.
Mhm.
Okay, moving right along here, we got a death metal band from Chile. Haven't heard much from Chile over the last year and a bit, but it's a band called Oraculum with their album Hybris Divina. So basically, it's just pure death metal, plain and simple. It's not like one of those gory death metal releases, but it has like that more mature version to it. So like think Asphyx or with like a little bit of bolt thrower in there. I think that's kind of up that alley where it's basically if you have like the dive bombs and everything and the whammy bar solos, it's death metal kind of has some groove to it as well. Like it's very similar with a lot of modern bands coming up in the scene. But they still kind of keep that hazy um over the top layer if you will with like the production, so it kind of feels off-putting when you're listening to it. It feels like it was released in like the late 90s early 2000s, but it adds a really cool dimension that feels hollow but yet brutal at the same time. So you're getting
Kind of like
the
a
you're
raw Kind of like a raw
Yeah.
sound.
Yeah, you're getting the best of both worlds there. So I think for me, this is probably one of the best death metal releases out there. So if you want to go show some love to the guys from South America, then yeah, check this one out.
Hell yeah. Okay, so now we're going to Japan. This album came out on a really cool label. Everybody should check out if you're down with the old school death metal sound. Check out Iron Fortress Records. They're putting out some heat lately, but this album is called Nocturnal Visions by a Japanese band called Invictus.
Mm.
If you dig Japanese old school death metal, this is like absolutely peak old school death metal. This is a trio from Japan, plays an absolutely savage take on, the best parts of about death and Morbid Angel and Obituary and even some early Cannibal Corpse aggression, all of which are obvious influences in their sound. But Invictus, their sound is uniquely their own. And you can only kind of listen to it to appreciate that. Their sound is crushing, relentless. The vocals are gnarly, they're sickening, almost like dripping. The riffs are next level, just tons of groove, tons of like stanky, dirty riffs. Everything that you want your death metal to be in summary. Production on this album is perfect for a death metal album. It's both raw and clear. With the mix, you can make out every single instrument, the vocals, nothing is like overpowering each other. It's just like perfect in unison. Great band. I've seen some live videos of them too, and they're just fucking crazy. So if you like good old-fashioned ass pounding, old school death metal, you got to check this out. And check out Iron Fortress Records because they're putting out some heat lately.
And those Japanese, man, they just get all medieval and they just start ripping.
Oh yeah,
Crazy.
fuck yeah.
Cam, I got one that might be one of the most brutal albums of the whole month, and it comes from a band from, I believe they're from Houston, called Stabbing, with their album Eon of Obscenity. Side note, if we're talking about labels, I think these guys are with Century Media, and we were just talking about this earlier, was that they completely messed up like the release and everything like that. So like I don't know if this is getting the love that it should, but like by God, like this has to take the crown as the heaviest album of the month by far. Like the speed and brutality of this album is simply unmatched. Like from the vocals and the pinch harmonics and like the absolute annihilation of the snare. I don't think they probably went through, they had to have gone through multiple snares throughout production of this record because it sounded like they're beating the shit out of it. And I just think through amongst all the chaos, it still sounds super tight and coherent, which is insanely impressive to do. Like I wish this album was, like, it's only a 30-minute runtime. So I wish they just released a full hour or longer with this stuff because it's such a fun listen. And the crazy thing is that it's a female fronted band, like just it's insanely gnarly and dark and brooding and still original. Because especially when you start getting into some technical brutal death metal, it can kind of sound repetitive, but I didn't feel like it was. It still seemed fresh every listen. So like if you go through this album and your hair isn't standing up on end, then you didn't listen to it well enough. You got to go back and you got to listen to it. So
going back to the vocals, absolute probably best vocal performance in a very long time from a brutal death band. Like some of the shit that she's doing is like, oh my God, I don't even know how a human can possibly do that.
I don't even know how a dude can do that.
Yeah.
Like, it's
It's crazy.
gross. Like, gross in
Yeah.
the most polite way possible.
Yeah. But talented.
Oh,
Super fun.
it's insanely talented.
Yeah.
So you like Brodequin, you like Defeated Sanity, you like Devourment, then like this album has got to be next in line for you. So show him some love.
Hell yeah. All right. Another one which is very, very hot. Was very hot in January, which I think is going to be on another big year-end list contender, is Ectovoid with their album In Unreality's Coffin. So these guys are from Alabama, and they play a blackened death metal sound, and it's a kind of like a supergroup kind of thing, consisting of members of Seraphic Entombment and Father Befouled, which is an amazing death metal band. This album is an absolute masterclass when it comes to songwriting, and it's an absolute riff clinic. It's just full of like unsettling and cavernous guitar parts, different textures and layers, and atmosphere full of existential dread, with super intense and heavy drumming and a ridiculously good vocal performance. If you guys like, old school death metal, like 90s Florida era, 90s era Florida death metal bands with like a modern cutting edge production and guitar tone, sprinkle in some psychedelic elements, sprinkle in some like, cosmic kind of creepy, eerie atmosphere, and some ridiculous guitar solos. Like some of the most guitar solos, you're like, oh, you're just listening, you're like, oh wow, holy
Someone's got to
shit.
record this.
Yeah, yeah. Holy fuck, man. Like all you can do is audibly say holy fuck, man, when you're listening. This is perfect death metal album for me. And will be likely on the year-end list as well for best death metal albums. It's crazy how many great releases came out in January. It's just fucked, in my opinion. So
you think, like, we say this every year, we're like, how can it get better than the last year? And like we said, if there's any indicator going forward, then this year is going to be probably, it's gonna be a 50 album year-end list.
yeah, it's getting crazier and crazier.
It's gonna be stupid. So another super solid release coming out from Indiana is a band called Carrion Vael. Their album Slay Utterly. So these guys are like a melodic death outfit. So imagine if you flew back, or you could go back in time, you listen to Nocturnal when it first came out, or Miasma, then like you are right where you're supposed to be. Like these guys have extremely tight riffage with like the machine gun type vocals, but then it matches the snarls and the shrieks and everything that you get with melodic death metal, and it matches the intensity and the darkness and everything so well, and it just makes for such a fun listen. The intensity of this album too is like simply unmatched. Like it blazes by in like blinding speed, leaves no prisoners behind, and I think there's like one instrumental song maybe throughout the full runtime. It's not very long, but it's basically like all killer, no filler at all. And honestly, like you have such a fun time listening to melodic death. If you do, like, it's easy to mess up if you don't do it well, but if you do it well, then you're automatic like top album for sure. And these guys pulled it out. So you guys like the Black Dahlia Murder, you like Summoning the Lich, you like a little bit of Inferi as well, then this album should be, queued up for you in your next listen. So check them out.
Hell yeah. All right. Now we're getting a little bit more dark, a little bit more blackened. So this is a one-man blackened death grind / noise project called Feed Them Broken Teeth with the album Poison of the Masses. And this is one man. His name is Michael Bayer. He has a couple other projects. If you follow him on Bandcamp, just type in Ecliptic, and I think it's Ecliptic, the music of Michael Bayer or something like that. But he has a few other projects. He has his other dissonant death metal project called Ecliptic, which is also really good. This guy is from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And one thing I like about this album is it's full of dark and discordant and chaotic guitar notes with disgusting, deep, guttural, growling vocals, of which my toilet bowl would be proud. If my toilet bowl heard these vocals, it would be jealous. Combine that with some really awesome stank face inducing brutal slam elements, with some, I don't want to call them breakdowns, but slam parts. I guess you could call them breakdowns. It's just super interesting. And, while some people may consider this to be like one note, I can make out clearly all of the different elements of the music. And for me, this is the perfect type of music for like taking my dog for a walk. And in fact, I listened to this album when I took my dog for a walk, and it was minus 30 degrees outside, and it kept me nice and warm. I can't say the same for my dog, but
we gotta get Nova on listening to them.
Yeah,
get some dog earphones.
Oh yeah, she'd be able to understand the vocals probably. But yeah, every track is super unique. It's interesting. There's lots of twists and turns. Yeah, and it's just an album and a project that I think I'll be returning to frequently because I love they're just like the weird avant-garde, chaotic, brutal death metal. This has a lot of grind elements, has a lot of noise elements, everything that I love. So check it out. Feed Them Broken Teeth, Poison of the Masses.
Hell yeah.
You won't regret it.
And support them on Bandcamp too.
Hell yeah. Support the hell out of these artists. Buy their shit, buy their music, send them something, buy their merch, shout them out.
Show what you can. Yeah, it's because the more eyes, then the more support they're gonna get. So
yeah, man. You gotta feed the art.
This podcast is sponsored by Iron Image Barbell Club. Iron Image is located in Selkirk, Manitoba. It is the gym of choice for moi. It offers a whole host of fitness equipment. Your classic bodybuilding gym equipment. If you like to lift heavy things and listen to heavy ass fucking music, then Iron Image is the place for you. They also offer spin classes and yoga, group fitness classes, or high-intensity cardio classes, if you're into that sort of thing. I enjoy going to the gym, lifting heavy shit while I listen to heavy-ass music. If you enjoy that as well, then you have to check out Iron Image Barbell Club. They are fucking awesome.
We're going to go cross to some warmer weather than what we're having here, over to Spain. Another brutal death metal band for me, band called Subjugated, with their album Inherent Belligerence. Now, I think you could put a weighted vest on an elephant and put that elephant in concrete, and it would still not be as heavy as what this album is. Like this, it's stupid heavy. Like I can't put into words how heavy it is. You have to listen, like, simply listen to it. Like I cannot I cannot come up with the words. Like, but the one thing that I liked about this album is brutal death for some reason can be even broken down even further. Even though it's a niche of a niche, you can talk about the different styles of playing, where I think Stabbing is more of like a technical brutal death metal band. I'd say Subjugated is more of like a grind influenced brutal death metal band, if that makes sense. So if you know bands like Visceral Disgorge or Cerebral Incubitation or Deeds of Flesh, then like those guys, it's a lot of tremolo picking, usually dual between like the lead and the supporting guitar, just kind of harmonizing from each other to kind of gauge that sound. But it creates a little bit of dimension to the record, which is always appreciated when you start getting that heavy. But like the production is super crisp and clear. Doesn't happen with a lot of brutal death metal records, and you could easily make out all the instrumentation, and like even the bass lines and stuff too were like super poppy, and like you can hear everything, and it's like, yeah, through the thick of it all, you hear everything. So I like how creative it is. It's still original. I'll probably find myself going back and listening to this album throughout the course of the year. But I think, there's a special day coming up on February 14th. So I think if you got you and your lady, you're looking for some song or an album to put on your playlist, then I think you guys should add this one. Might spice up the mood a little bit.
Yeah, looking for some baby making music.
Hell yeah. Might have to throw down first before you get there, but it's a very diverse, it's a very diverse album.
Somebody's getting
Something's getting slammed. Something's getting slammed. Either something or someone.
Oh yeah, that album was so good. I that was like, I was listening to it, came on in the gym. We have our playlist, and just kind of we found it or whatever on the blogs and threw it into the playlist, and so I'm listening to albums in unison, and that one comes on, and I was like, instantly I'm like, oh, certified gym banger album.
You know what we need? We need like a real heavy stamp. Like when we have an album that is just so heavy, it's just like a stamp of approval. It's like real heavy approved.
Yeah, approved.
Yeah, approved.
That was easy.
Yeah, just go up to random people and like stamp it on their foreheads.
Yeah.
Just have to be there.
Sick. Okay, now we're going to Tech Death World. We're taking a trip down to Tech Death Land, and Quebec City to be exact. This is a one-woman project from a prolific metal connoisseur, you could call her. Her name is Alice Samard, and just check her out on what's it called? Encyclopedia Metallum, Metal Encyclopedia. The number of projects that she is a part of is actually insane. This project and this album is one of my favorites from her, and it's called Luminesce, with her album Like Crushed Violets and Linen. Now, Alsamard is a multi-instrumentalist. She literally plays everything, including the vocals. And this is a mellow technical death metal project that could stand up tall to even the likes of Necrophagist, Ominous Ruin, dare I say, Beneath the Massacre. Like, this is, just listen to it. It is, you'll be like, holy fucking crazy. The guitar work is just some of the most insane melodic, sweeping guitar parts that I've ever heard in any tech death project. This project is both brutal and beautiful at the same time. Tons of fast tremolo picking leads with groovy as hell bass lines that just like pop crisp, like the mix is like perfect. The instruments just kind of dance around each other, but you can make everything out. But like the bass lines, the guitar parts just make your fucking head spin around. There's the title track, like Crushed Violence and Linen, has some of the sickest writing, some of the coolest riffs for any like tech death or mellow death album that I think I've ever heard. And then right at the end or near the end, there's this like beautiful piano part that she's obviously playing. And it's like so beautiful that it might even bring a tear to your eye. So you just got to listen to it. She has a few other projects that are definitely worth checking out. One is called Fileshare Maiden, all one word. She has another project called Vitrified Entity, which is more like Beneath the Massacre style tech death. And then Turpitude, which is like a black gaze, black metal kind of lo-fi album that we're going to shout out. I'm going to shout out in the next video because it's so good. But yeah, got to check it out. Luminesce, like Crushed Violence and Linen, savage, like some of the craziest guitar work I think I've ever heard. Could stand up to any of the tech death greats, Retromorphosis, Spawn of Possession, Deeds of Flesh, you name it. Just fucking give it a ripper.
Unreal. It's rare enough for a one-person band, never mind a female, doing it. So
Yeah.
good for her for doing that.
So sick. And her output is like, holy shit, man, slow down. Like, how do you put out so many, it's one thing to put out albums and like a volume, right? You just sit there and write all day long. But the fact that everything she puts out is good, not just good, it's like, holy shit, this is great. It's like, I don't know how someone has the time, but B, like the mental capacity to like do all that and then come up with all the writing and everything too. And then like tracking all the instruments and everything. It's just like, Jesus. So
there's wizards out there.
You can only be, there's some wizards. Yeah. Canadians.
Us Canadians, crazy.
Nothing else to do when it's minus 30 outside.
True. Very good point.
Yeah.
But these guys that I'm going to talk about next have weather that's nice all year round, maybe even too hot. And by that place, I'm talking about Australia. And the band that comes from there, one of the many good ones, is called Malignant Aura, and their album Where All the Worth Comes to Wither. These guys came right off the press, hot and ready to go, basically ready to bless your ear holes. They're like, we're here to fuck some shit up. We're going to put out a sick ass record. And dare I say, already another going to be ending up on some year-end lists for sure. I'd say that this album has some of the most disgusting and vile vocals that I have listened to in the last month. And even for like a death metal or like a death doom band too, like usually you don't get that style, but it seemed like as if you're taking the last breath away from someone, shoving it into your mouth, and you're putting it out into the world with the song. And
Mhm.
it sounded so good in like the most polite way possible. So like I don't know how else I could spread my appreciation. We'll just leave it at that.
Mhm.
So like at first listen, I got huge Hooded Menace vibes from like the Death Doom aspect of the album, but like I could also pick apart some like incantation inspiration as well with some of like the Death Doom elements. Um, Even with like the guitar tone and the pace of the album and everything, that's kind of where it fits in together. But I think if you truly want to appreciate this album, you're either listening to it in the car or you're listening to it just like on the couch. You're throwing on this album and you need to listen to it basically front to back because it takes you through a journey, the pushes and the pulls, basically the good and the bad. It's essentially a circle of life in an album. Um, but I will admit, like to the untrained ear, it is definitely a dense album. But once you are a more experienced listener and you can kind of pick apart the albums or the different parts of the album, then I think you will truly appreciate what this album has to offer. So I mean, sick release of these Aussies. It was amazing.
Hell yeah. Sweet.
Hmm.
All right. Next up for me is what do you get when you throw old school death metal, punk, D beat, crust, and black metal into a wood chipper? You
Whoa.
get fucking Skulled.
Hell yeah.
So this band called Skulled with their album Abyss Calls to Abyss. I always want to say Asbestos.
Asbestos.
Skulled with Abyss Calls to Abyss. So these absolute maniacs are also from Italy, and this album has to be a 10 out of 10 for me when it comes to death metal releases. It's the perfect blend of all my favorite subgenres melded into one. It has that really aggressive but upbeat hardcore D beat drumming with that punk in your face aggression combined with like that thrash crossover sound and even some like melodic Swedish death metal sound. Um, Another female fronted vocalist, her name is Pamela. She brings that, mid-range hardcore and thrash metal style vocal performance. Guitars and drums are playing a combo of like Black Dahlia Murder and Power Trip, or even like Marauder and that sound. Just like super driving and like uplifting and positive and just makes you want to fucking kick ass.
Conquer the world.
Yeah, it's a great album to listen to front to back, and it's an impossible not to headbang your fucking head clean off album. So
Mm,
might get some
sick.
stares when you're on the road, when you're in traffic, and you're just like, fist bumping and headbanging, but who cares?
Most people
It's-
won't get it.
No. Well, it's a super good album.
Sick. Love it. Okay, now we're going back to America. Gonna shout out a death metal band from Missouri called Tombseeker with their self-titled album, Tombseeker. And believe it or not, this is a first full-length album from these guys, and I think they did like a fantastic job. They're like staying in the same lane as the new age of death metal bands. So think 200 Stab Wounds, Tomb Mold, Undeath, where it's very groove laden, maybe like late 90s, Mortar Scold type um
Mhm.
type inspiration. but they do a good job of doing less is more. They're not trying to do anything flashy. They're not trying to do something that they can't. It's just they focus on the speed and the riffs. And that's where I think they double down on their efforts, and it works perfectly. Like, it kind of has a little bit of a hardcore flair to them, in terms of like the pacing with the drums and then the guitars to shadow them. But it makes it like this album impossible to not headbang to. Like, it's so groovy. The vocals feel cavernous yet powerful, and they kind of like, if you got some headphones on, they like coat your ear holes with like a warm hug of blood. Like, it's just all wonderful and gooey, and it's just you're bathing in like this gross sense of amazing death metal. It's as eloquently as I can put it. uh Essentially the best of both worlds. So I think it's a top choice for me and for us for a reason. So I think if for some reason you haven't listened to it, then if I'm going to assign anyone who's listened to this podcast for some homework, then check out the Tombseeker album.
Hell yeah, sick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought that album was so good, so fun.
Just like
At
I think
first
it's a
when I
bouncy death metal riff or album.
yeah, when I first listened to when I saw the name, I was like, Tombseeker, Broom Sweeper.
Nice. They should. That's what they should have called the album. They should have called it "Broom Sweeper" by Tombseeker. And it's just and their album cover is just a skull with a broom in, like,
Yeah,
because I think the album cover of that album, if I'm not mistaken, is like they're in a tomb or something
yeah.
with like different skulls and things, or like different
They're seeking.
skeletons. Yeah, so there
seeking.
should have been like a skeleton holding a broom and like sweeping the room while there's
Yeah.
more skeletons and stuff in the room.
Broom Sweeper by Tombseeker. Sick.
Oh,
Oh, that was
jeez.
a great album. Okay, next up we got another one-man project. This project is called Vertebrae Fetish Totem, which is super dark. Super dark name for a band or a project. The album is called Transmogrification. Transmogrification. It's a one-man project. He goes by Plague Hammer, which is pretty sick. Blackened and dissonant brutal death doom from Mississippi.
Ooh.
And if you like filthy, scraping out your ear holes, drenched from all the blackened crud, that's what you'll get after listening to this one. The recording is super raw and uncut. It has a really kind of live quality to it. It's very gross sounding, like this, like the sound is like dripping off the speakers. But I like it because it adds to the character and the overall atmosphere of the album. You can hear everything. You hear the feedback of the guitars. The vocals are deep and cavernous, like something is bellowing from beneath the cave, and like, calling out to you. The drums are super raw sounding, which I love. And it has a really nasty, vile, pingy, almost like a brutal death metal snare tone, where it's just like ping, 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 ping. Like, yeah, you gotta fucking love that,
Who doesn't?
yeah, so this is another really great listen if you're, pissed off the state of the world and you're looking to induce that stank face throughout your day. It's also a certified gym banger, certified stamp of approval.
Stamp.
Great heavy lifting, heavy music.
Hell yeah.
So check it out. Vertebrae Fetish Totem with Transmogrification. Got it.
Perfect. We'll work on the pronunciation.
Perfect.
And I'm gonna need help here with this next one. From a band from Pennsylvania. They're like a black and death metal band called Profane Elegy, and their album Herezjarcha. Sure, let's go with that. I tried to do some research into what that meant, and apparently it's a made up word. It's a new word, and I don't know where it's from. I don't know where it's originated from, but you know what? That's okay,
Here we are.
because this is, I think, one of the most, like, if you want to talk about a blackened crossover band in terms of like a smorgasbord of arrays, like, hey,
Mhm.
you want some little bit of pure black metal, you want some black and death metal, you want some black and death doom, like you want progressive, you want some thrash. It's basically like the charcuterie board of black and death metal. This is what you listen to.
Lay it out.
Lay it on the line, which I think it's like, how can you not like it? Because you can pick apart basically everything from this album and you're gonna find something that you like.
Mhm.
It's just the one thing though that stays consistent throughout the whole album though is just how badass and like eerie this album is. Like somehow it just has that constant like someone's watching you the whole time, and it looks like the blackened, like you're you're running through the woods and you
Mhm.
know someone's following you. It just makes the hair on the back of your neck stand up, and then like the music just pierces you down right to your core. Like it haunts you, but it's such a great album. Like, I think a good comparison would be Swallow the Sun with like that black and death doom edge. But I think in all reality, there's way more to it that meets the eye and has way more dimension that can only really be appreciated if you listen to it yourself, because I've listened to it a couple times, and I know for sure when I go back and listen to it 3, 4, 5 times that there's just going to be even more to digest and to take in and everything. But I think it's just, with again going back to the sound, it's one of those albums where you can basically listen to it doing anything. Like, doesn't matter how you're feeling, doesn't matter what you're doing, it just transcends all boundaries and appeals to basically everyone. So I think if you're someone who's looking to kind of get into that blackened genre and you want a little bit more diversity in your sound, then this is kind of like that gateway album, I'd say, to appeal to everybody. So
Mhm.
just a great
Oh,
album
yeah.
overall.
Perfect. I thought it was perfect.
It was perfect. It was so
Yeah.
good.
So good. One of the best like black and death metal releases to come out in the last, I don't know, forever.
Yeah,
Like,
in recent memory for sure.
really, really good.
It's just, yeah, so diverse and so deep, and
Mm-hmm.
it's like usually you don't get that. Usually it's just so vanilla or just so plain. So
Yeah. Sweet. All right.
mhm.
Okay. We're sticking in the black metal kind of field here. This is another one-man project, so really on trend here. This is Pillar Amongst Willows with Kindred Odyssey. This is a project from the phenomenal Ben Van Wielden. He's also known for other projects such as Venomous Echoes, and he put out a record last year, which was one of the darkest like shits I've ever heard in my life. This album is released on the Centipede Abyss Records. If you want to go down a bit of a rabbit hole and you like some, avant-garde black metal, death metal kind of disso type shit. It's a good label, for that. This is kind of like an atmospheric black death metal vortex that sucks you into a black hole, and it keeps you there for the entirety of the album, which consists of only 3 long tracks. Now, even though it's only 3 tracks, the album feels like, there's more individual songs than just 3 songs, because it takes you on this journey through beautiful and serene, clean guitars and a dreamlike atmosphere. And then it builds and builds and builds into this blackened hellscape through which you're traversing the dark corners of your own mind. And I feel like Ben Van Wielden has a tendency to do that with his projects. Like, it's very much like a mental journey that you get taken on with his music. So it's pretty interesting that way. It's very thoughtful. It's very dense. It's not for the faint of heart. But it's really, really cool. And you can only check it out on Bandcamp, I believe. I don't know if it's on Spotify, but it's definitely worth checking out. Pillar Amongst Willows, Kindred Odyssey. If you're into that kind of like journey type music, put it on while you're on a long drive, and you'll get all the feels.
Let your mind run amok.
Yeah, exactly. It can be a good thing, can be a bad thing, but never know.
It's a risk you gotta take sometimes.
Yeah.
And usually when you make those risks, one might call you a degenerate sometimes. And this band kind of goes along with that, called Degenerate Synapse. They're a death grind band from Chicago, and they put out an album called Battle for the Mind. I think this is just like, again, how we were just talking about, sometimes you just need words. Like you just need like 3 words or something to describe an album. I put the same thing. I just put what the fuck. Like, it was just, it's incredibly heavy, incredibly brutal. It's basically fusing the best of both worlds between the unrelenting speed of grind, but then yet you get the brutality of death metal, and then you fuse that together into an album that just refuses to quit. And it is, there's one small instrumental song. I think it's 2 minutes in a 22-minute long runtime, and the rest is just ass pounding, face punching, anything else that you can think of that is beating the shit out of you will come out during this album. I'd say, like, again, in typical grind fashion, all the songs are like a minute and a half, a minute if that. But it's just the guitars are so brutal, but then yet they somehow produce a lot of groove as well, which is weird for grind, but still do. But I think the biggest thing in the start of the show are definitely the drums, because the drums seem to be, holding everything together. It's still keeping the intensity. Maybe the guitars lay off for a little bit, but the drums are always there, kind of keeping everything together, making sure that you don't die down during your listening session. So I really did appreciate that. It's got like that Misery Index benighted kind of death metal grind fusion a little bit. So if you like that, then this will be an album or a band that you should check out. But I mean, like, if you listen to this album and your hair isn't sticking up at all ends and you're looking like Doc Brown, then you did it wrong. So go back and rip it again.
Sick. All right. Guess what time it is?
Ooh, I think it's time for some Unga Bunga.
It's time for some Unga Bungas.
Ooh.
Unga Bunga time, baby. So we got some Midwest stomping death metal from Chicago.
Ooh.
with a band called Frigid and their album Contempt of Decay. This was also released on Iron Fortress Records, and it's just over 20 minutes assault and battery that'll hit you like a fucking bulldozer, and then it will run you over, it'll back up, and it will do it all over again. It's a really fun death metal listen with big, groovy as fuck, big stank face riffs. You got all the squealies and the pinch harmonies all over the place. If you like bands like, in your face death metal, aggressive bands like 200 Stab Wounds, Necrot, some crossover stuff like Dead Heat, Gatecreeper, you'll really dig this album. Just like straight up, stomping death metal, really cool riffs. Yeah, can't say much more about it. You just gotta fucking tune in or
Get
drop
the
out,
fuck out. Yep.
or get dropped out.
Sometimes you just need those. You just need like a simple album, good old reliable, something you can throw on. You know it's gonna be good. So sick. And then I'd probably put this my next one into that same category. Death metal band from Bulgaria of all places, a band called Concrete and their album Absent Mortality. Now, if you're not a geographic wizard and didn't realize that Bulgaria was a country, I don't blame you. You thought it was just a made-up place, but I can assure you it's real. But I hope that after listening to this album, maybe you'll put a little respect onto the name. And do a
In
little
Bulgaria,
research. And in Bulgaria.
death metal makes you.
That's how you get into the country. You have to name 3 Bulgarian death metal countries. Death metal bands from Bulgaria.
Yeah, you got to
at
play
least-
solos with your unibrow.
Yeah, you got one. So I think if you go into the dictionary and like you look up what death metal is, then Concrete should be in like the list of examples that you come up with, because it's pure death metal right to the core. Like you got the ripping melodic solos, you got dive bends, you got low gutturals, you got groovy riffs, all playing at like blazing speeds, and then all of this is being done within 30 minutes. Like it's just basically, what the fuck did I just listen to? I'm just gonna throw basically the kitchen sink at everything, but somehow make it enjoyable. But then yet it also feels like I'm listening to something back from the 90s. Like it's truly amazing how they were able to encompass everything in such a short run time, which I really appreciated. I think it's like super easy to, again, like the last album, just talking about getting in, getting out. This is one of those things where it's like, you know exactly what you're getting into. It's not trying to reinvent the wheel. They're not trying to do anything fancy. It's pure and simple. So it's got Cannibal Corpse and Deicide written all over it. And it's probably going to be one of the closest things that we're going to get to from reliving the glory days of the 90s. So I think if that's something that you like, then give that one a spin.
Sweet.
Mm-hmm.
All right, originally that was going to be the last one, but there's one more.
Ooh.
So this
New
one
edition.
came out right at the end, and well, I found out about it like right at the end of the month, and almost didn't put it on the list, but then I listened to it and I'm like, nope, it's fucking getting slammed right in there.
Mm-hmm.
So speaking of Valentine's Day, if you want another, some set the mood music, put a little candle out, put some rose petals out, for the lady.
Mm-hmm.
then you throw on some gibbeting with their album Execution Rampage.
Ooh.
Oh yeah. It's gonna be like
It's gonna be a slip and slide.
gonna be like Marine Land in your apartment. So this is an international brutal death metal band from a variety of different countries, such as Argentina, Estonia, Netherlands, and Switzerland. And I think they reside in Switzerland, these guys now. But this is probably one of the fastest slamming brutal death releases that you'll ever hear in terms of sheer speed and veracity, nonstop, just like in your face. Like it's like get in, get out, just fuck you up, you know. I listened to it. I threw it on while I was grocery shopping, and I was smiling and laughing to myself. People probably thought I was kind of nuts, but when something is this nasty, disgusting, and heavy, you just have to like laugh to yourself because you're like, what the fuck? I had the same feeling last year with that Putridity album. Very similar type of brutal death, just like slamming in your face, tons of blast beats, nonstop barrage of just like, pummeling heaviness. But yeah, if you like bands like Putridity, Corpse, Warface, which is like a brutal death band from back in the day with crazy drumming, you'll love this band. So check it out. Throw it on for the old lady. You'll be fucking, oh yeah,
Scoring some points.
oh, hell yeah. Throw it on for the old lady's mom.
Ooh, that's a good way to make a first impression.
Yes, yeah.
Hell yeah. I'll take some notes.
All right. That takes the cake for January death metal releases for 2026. It was a heater. Looking forward to February. If you guys like what you hear, check these bands out, follow them, Bandcamp, social media, support the fuck out of them. Again, good music, good people. Got to support the art. Look forward to you guys in the next video. We're dropping one. It's all about everything else that we listen to outside of death metal. So still heavy, still cool. We're gonna drop that video next. So like, share, subscribe, stay tuned. Yeah, let's go.
And stay heavy.
Stay heavy, stay hard.
Be hard.
Peace out.